everybody. Welcome and thank you for your patience. I know we're off to a little bit of a late start, but first day back in the dance class, a little bit of a transition period. So welcome. So today's our official first day in the Caribbean. Last week we went a detour. We went through Ireland for a little bit with our shepherd's pie, which is always a nice little treat. So today we're going to do 3 recipes, but I was going to go ahead and put a disclaimer out there. One of the recipes on the website we're actually not going to do today because I failed the foresight in thinking about how long it needs to be refrigerated. So the mousse is not moussing. It's moussing now by the time I get home. It's in the refrigerator. But when I made it and I was leaving, it hadn't set up yet. So I'm going to go back to an old oldie but goodie. Hopefully you all think so anyway. That's a berry pudding. We're going to do that. And we're going to do with the raspberries we had done before. We're going to do it with blueberries today because that's what I have. So we'll do that. So other than that, the other 2 recipes, we're going to do the Ackee and Saltfysh. And so that's like I said, the Jamaican national dish. It's a breakfast recipe, so it's like eggs, okay? And then we're going to do some roasted asparagus. So hopefully you all like the recipe today. So the recipes today are super simple and super quick, so we can take a little bit more time to make sure we're getting some of those points that you all got like a C on 2 weeks ago. So let me hit the point home just a little bit harder. So I think I passed them out. I wasn't expecting to. I'm grateful for all the people who came today. I only made 20 copies. Y'all see what I'm talking about? It just turned on 500 by itself. Okay? This thing, I tell you, okay, the only thing I don't like about this facility is the thing doesn't work. But that's okay. All right, so we have talked many times. So I have 20 handouts. So if you're sitting beside a friend, I encourage you to share so that way everyone can participate in this exercise. This shouldn't be like an arduous task to do this because we talk about this all of the time, okay? So what you have there is a plate, and it's a 9-inch plate, not a 12-inch plate, okay, where you can shove all that food on there. So when you are creating your plate, I would like for you to draw out how much of your plate should be a protein, a whole grain or carb, and veggies and all that, and fruit, or however you would do it. How would you design your plate based on what we talked about or what you consider to be a healthy plate? Okay? So if you're working with somebody, collaborate. Is this an open book? It's open book if you have a partner. Otherwise, please work alone. You said protein? Yep. What part of your plate should be protein? Don't tell people what you think the answer is. Yeah, draw it on the plate. Just what you think a healthy plate consists of in terms of percentages. So I don't want to, as they say, lead the witness. Let all those conversations come back to your mind. What is a healthy plate to you versus what we've talked about? Because I don't think they're aligned. This is easy, right? Yeah? Okay. All right, I'm still seeing pins, so I'll give it like 30 more seconds. Okay. All right. I'm gonna call on one person from each row. Like I'm just calling 3 different people, and you gotta tell me what is your healthy plate. So, would you like to go?
I'll try, but I'm
Yeah, that's okay.
So meat, vegetables, and carbs.
Meat, vegetables, and carbs. And what percentages?
I'm not quite sure, but I know your vegetables is the largest percent.
Okay.
And your carbs is just small.
Okay.
I don't know what the percentage is.
Okay. Okay. All right. Sharon.
What my plate look like?
Yeah.
Half of it is veggies, non-starch,
Okay.
and then the other half is protein, and the other half is whole grain, or a quarter, is it 50, 25 and 25, a protein and then whole grain.
That sounds pretty good. That sounds pretty good. Okay. Sounds familiar to me. Okay. Leslie.
I did the same thing. I have half my plate veggies, a quarter protein, and the other quarter carbs.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. So I'm going to say that Sharon and Leslie knocked that one out the park in terms of what we discussed in this class. You want half your plate, we're not talking about fruit. If you have your fruit, it'll be a percentage of the non-starchy side. But you want half your plate as non-starchy vegetables, 25% protein, preferably plant, but if you eat animals, then 25% animals, and then 25% a whole grain. So not just a carb, a whole grain with the fiber and the minerals still intact. So not white rice, not any kind of processed whatever, okay? A whole grain, preferably an ancient grain. So can you all tell me some non-starchy vegetables? Will you take one and pass it around, please? Kale, collard greens, yes. Broccoli. Huh? Lettuce. Cruciferous vegetables, yes. No. They're kind of in the middle. Peppers, yes. 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 Okay. So the sheet that's coming around, just to help you get going with what your plate should be the most full of, are a list of non-starchy vegetables. It's not exhaustive for all the vegetables in the whole world because there's too many, but the basic ones you'll see in an American grocery store are listed there. Okay. Well, that's a start. So you can have it on your plate, but not 50% of your plate. So the next part I'm passing around, this will show you a healthy plate, including fruit, okay? Because you should be eating fruit, fresh fruit, every single day. And it's broken down by percentage so you can see what a healthy plate looks like. So these are the things I really want you all to keep in mind when you're putting stuff on your plate. And when you go back for seconds or thirds, it should be in the same proportion. So don't eat right the first go round and then go back and fill with macaroni and cheese, okay? Like, don't do that, all right? It's kind of defeating the purpose. Go back in the same proportion. Get out your kitchen, okay?
And when you're saying on the vegetables and stuff, should it be more bitter vegetables? Should we be leaning more to more bitter vegetables?
Bitter's always better, but the main thing is that it's non-starchy. So if you have like potatoes or sweet potatoes as your 50% of your plate, and then you still have, let's say, beans as your whole grain, then now you got 75% of starchy vegetables, right? Which will, so you don't want that. So you want the non-starchy vegetables. You don't want those kind of, you want things to break down. And how can I say this? You want to make sure that your carbs are your proper carbs. Even though vegetables are carbs, you don't need the extra sugar and the starch. That's what we're trying to make sure we're keeping at a minimum. Not that they're bad. They should not be the dominant thing on the plate. Yep. And that's fine. Have a huge salad first as your main, and then you have that.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Can you ask me? Oh, okay. Hey, okay. All right, so looking at the handouts, any thoughts, anything you weren't aware of, or now something that's a little bit clearer, or questions?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
What's a cabbage carrot?
I think that's just the spacing. It's cabbage and then carrot. Yeah. Thank you for calling. I can fix it. Yeah.
You said carrots were not good.
No, I don't use good and bad. I never said it was not good. Carrots they're totally fine. I said they're not exactly non-starchy and they're not fully starchy. They're kind of in the middle. Yeah. Uh-huh.
The fruits, are they seasonal? Do we eat them according to season, or what's the best time to eat them?
Always, always, always. Now the thing is, in the grocery store, if you're not growing your own fruits and vegetables, you may not know what's in season, right? But here's how you can know in the grocery store. Here's a hint: anything you see in abundance and the price is lower than it normally is, that's because it's in season. So like for today, our asparagus is in season from March through June. So if you go to the grocery store, you're gonna see the white, purple, and green asparagus all the time because it's in season. That's an indicator. But when they go way up in price and you hardly ever see the organic version of it, or it's a struggle to find just that one, it's because it's not in season. So, but also I'll have a sheet I can give you all that shows you what's in season in this part of the country from year to year. But yeah, you want to eat everything, not just your fruit. You want to eat everything seasonally, local and seasonal. Yeah. And of course, organic. Hopefully that point has been belabored. Any other comments or finds? Yes.
Question. Okay, nuts and seeds don't go under protein? I got that.
So when we're talking about plant-based food, because this is a plant power plate, plant forward plate, so they play different roles. So like, for example, quinoa is a whole lot of protein, but it's also a carb, okay? So it can go in either way. So when we're thinking about proteins where their main function more so than other things are protein, that's how it's listed. It doesn't mean that it's not. Yeah, but because it's higher in fat, we're going to make sure that we call those out as whole fats. But it's also protein. Yes. It's not one thing. And most of them play 2 or 3 different roles. Any other questions or comments or observations? She likes my lipstick. Thank you. I mixed 2 colors. Thank you. What else y'all learn? So based on what you drew on your plate, how close were you? Okay, based on what you do at home and what you actually put on your plate, how close are you? Not very close. So what things are you going to do differently since you have this visual representation and this visual reminder? What are you going to do differently tonight when you have your dinner? Yeah, you'll sleep much better. You're going to feel lighter. You're going to feel better. Okay? Especially at dinner, if you even choose to eat dinner, you don't need to go to bed with the greasiest, heaviest fried thing, if that's what you're eating. That's the worst time to eat that crap. If you're going to eat that crap, which I don't suggest, eat it at the peak of the day so you can have the calories burned off throughout the day. Okay? You want your biggest meal at the peak of the sun, the peak of the day, not at night before you go to sleep. Yes?
So when cooking your vegetables, do you suggest steaming versus baking, boiling, frying, or whatever?
When it comes to vegetables, I suggest raw as much as possible. And then after raw, I would suggest blanching. After blanching, I would suggest steaming. After steaming, I would suggest baking. Baking, roasting, same. Yeah. Only because, so as we've talked about before, the more heat exposure any food has, real food now has, the antioxidants go down and all the nutrients start to degrade. So you're not starting off at 100%. So every time it's going down, 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 down. So you want as close to the tree or the plant as possible. So this is why raw is best. You want to keep all those phytonutrients that we've talked about, all those antioxidants intact. And if you cook them to death and deep fry them to death, it's just there as something for you to chew on. It's very little anything left because it's been cooked to death. Heat is like the cancer to those kind of nutrients. So you want to eat them as raw as possible. And you want to start to like raw. You need to masticate. That's the other thing we're going to practice today. This is the exercise we're going to do today. Before you swallow, as you're shoveling all that stuff down your throat, you need to chew at least, this is the bare minimum, 15 times. When you swallow, your food should be a liquid. You should not have hunks of whatever you've got going down, okay? Especially as you age, because we keep talking about this, right? We talk about as you age, your stomach acids get weaker naturally, okay? So it's not just the whole protein thing. If you're a person that eats dead animals, it's harder to process those dead animals as you get older because your stomach acid has gotten weaker. That's why when you're younger, it didn't matter as much. You didn't feel affected by it. But today, you struggle with it. You don't have as much stomach acid. And then, so now not only is your body trying to heat it up or cool it down because you're eating a hot plate of food or cold ice cream, and then add the water back into it because you ate, a raisin instead of a grape. Now it's also got to say, okay, what is she doing here? Now I got to break down these hunks of food because he was just in a rush to swallow. I mean, give your body a break. Show it some love, okay? Chew your food. Mastication is real. I should make a t-shirt that says that, okay? Chew your food. And then you'll probably start chewing wanting to swallow after 5 chews out of habit, okay? But honestly, the recommend is 32 chews before you swallow. And now most of you are not going to do it. So I'm saying the minimum should be 15, okay? That's called bolus. When you chew the food from your mouth, it's called bolus. It goes down your esophagus, down into your stomach. When it gets here and it hits the stomach acid, it becomes chyme. Chyme breaks down. It goes all the way through your large intestine, your small intestine, and that's how your nutrients actually get absorbed. So that's also when you're a person that is struggling with health issues, if you have brittle hair, brittle nails, if you have cavities, if you have sunken eyes, you have a lot of signs of nutrient deficiencies. If you can start by just chewing your food and helping your digestion out, it will help you out a lot. You don't have to take a pill for that. Just chew your food. Slow down. It's not going anywhere, okay? It'll be on your plate, I promise. Okay, so we're going to try that. 15 chews before you swallow. All right, I think today's class, because it's so quick, the food, that we can eat it all at once, such as long as I can keep you all alive and with me, okay? Start fading out on me, okay? So what I think I'm going to do first, I'm going to make the dessert first, which actually you can do as a breakfast or a snack or whatever like that, because it's totally wholesome. And then we'll have that ready to go, and I'll ask for a volunteer to come up and scoop them into these beautiful cups that Karen has provided for the class. And while we have that going, we will get the asparagus into the oven, which I guess let's see.
Back to the chewing.
Yes.
When we chew like 32 times, doesn't that help us to become fuller? And it takes about 20 minutes to recognize that it's full?
Yes. It's a 20-minute delay between here and here.
So if you chew 30 times at least,
you'll slow down.
We'll slow down and eat less.
Yes.
And become fuller quicker.
Yes.
Okay, we're on a mission.
Yes. And then that helps with, it's a thing called leptin resistance. Leptin is the signal that tells you if you're hungry or not. And that signal is the same if you're thirsty or not. So that's why when you eat a proper portion of food and you feel like you're still hungry, go and drink something. Okay? Wait 20 minutes. And then if you still feel hungry, then eat. But most likely you are just thirsty. Most of the time throughout the day when you feel like, oh, I'm hungry, you're not. You're thirsty. You're dehydrated. Okay? Even if you feel like you drink water all the time, because that's what I always hear from clients. I drink water all the time. Okay, how many ounces is that? Okay? Okay. Let's break that down. But drink something. Okay? Okay.
The food that you have to cook to death is beans, right?
If they're dried. If they're dried, then yes, those have to be cooked all the way through. And in this country, most of the beans come dry, even though they grow fresh on the vine, and abundantly.
Oh, so when they're
Yeah.
fresh, you don't have to cook them?
You can eat them raw, or you can blanch them. Mm-hmm.
So what about, on this base, I didn't see eggs on here, and then so that's not part of the protein.
Okay. No, and I welcome that. So thank you. We haven't talked about, because this class is about world cuisine. This is not the food as medicine course that we did initially, where I went in about eggs. So first, for the newcomers, this is a plant-based class. So it's all the world cuisine is plant-based, and plant-based does not mean vegan. I am vegan. So all the foods that I present here, and I hate saying vegan, whole food plant-based. Vegan just means I don't eat dead animals. I don't eat chicken periods, and I don't consume anything from an animal. Anything that had parents, I don't consume it. But you can be a junk food vegan. I could eat, like I said, Oreos, Twizzlers, popcorn, chips, and be vegan, right? That's why I don't like that term. Whole food plant-based. And it's not outside of the animal part of it. Outside of that, it's also in the environmental part, it's the health aspects of it. So that's what we focus on in this class. And then if people ask, well, I still have chicken in my refrigerator and I'm going to cook it, how should I do it? Then I say, well, make sure it's the best kind, like they were actually pasture raised or something like that. Make sure it's smaller than the size of your palm. I'll say those kind of things, but no recipes in here will contain that. Eggs in particular are, so legally, and this is what we talked about in our class before for those who were there, legally eggs cannot be listed as healthy or nutritious. That's by the FDA and the USDA because they're not. Because they're absolutely not. And I was actually thinking about that today. Actually, I was just thinking about that. So next week's class, I'll go into detail about why there are better choices than eggs. Okay, so if you choose to still incorporate into your diet, at least have the awareness. But if you look, it cannot be labeled as healthy, nutritious, anything like that on the carton, or even their clever advertising. They can't state it as such because it's not. It's not even a good source of protein. It's a very good source of saturated fat and cholesterol. And that's why it can't be, because you're only supposed to have a max, if you consume animals, the max cholesterol you're supposed to take in is 300 milligrams, and one egg has 200 milligrams of cholesterol. Just one egg, and who eats just one egg? So it adds to atherosclerosis, which leads to heart disease, and it's just your body makes cholesterol in abundance on its own.
So as a plant-based consumer,
Mm-hmm.
what about milk? Is that part of your? Okay, I guess I don't drink milk.
Yeah.
I was just wondering whether or not I don't drink milk.
Yeah.
I do all of it.
No, she's asking great questions. So dairy is like one of the most inflammatory things. So first of all, dairy is breast milk. It's intended to raise a calf to a 1,200 plus cow, not for humans. That's why the human babies are so overweight so quickly. And it's normal for them to have jaundice and normal for them to have all this mucus and coughs and be sick because they're drinking somebody else's species breast milk. That's the first thing, huh? Yeah. The other thing is that with grade A milk, there's a limit. In the United States, the only industrialized nation has higher levels of this than U.S. is Brazil. You can have 750,000 milliliters of pus and blood in USDA grade milk. Why is that? Because when they're pumping her, right, because she was already forcefully impregnated, now she's standing in this crate, they have these metal things on her udders, pumping her all day, she's bleeding, she's infected, they're putting stuff on her, it gets into the milk. They can't get it out the milk. So they said, instead of saying we can't sell the milk, we'll just have a limit of how much is allowed in milk. So when you pop a zit and that pus comes out, it's the same thing as in your milk. That's why in this country, if you go to other countries where it's not pasteurized, where the fat still floats to the top, it's a lot less of that. But in this country, with all the stuff they like to do, it's just something that really should be avoided. And especially if you're a person of color, because we're already naturally lactose intolerant. We lose the ability to digest the lactose enzyme at around age 2. All people, except for the folks who live in Northern Europe, they're the only ones on the planet that have the highest resistance of where they can accept lactose as an adult. And then one tribe in Africa that can do that. Everybody else is lactose intolerant. Asians are the most lactose intolerant, followed by blacks, followed by Hispanics. We really should not have it in your life. It's super, super inflammatory. But that's a whole other conversation.
So you do nutrition classes, I guess.
Yes, ma'am. I'm a certified holistic nutritionist. So this class is, we start off with like a lecture for 40 minutes, an hour of preparing the meals, and then 20 minutes of Q&A and tasting the food. So that everyone's it's just not here to learn a recipe, learn why this recipe is good and why you can think about incorporating it into your diet.
Q&A for my next question.
Oh, no, this is the Q. This is it. This is it. Yes. Hey. I can't hear you.
Just a point on the milk, from a nutritionist point, you know that most of the women who suffer from fibroids, yes, have drank a lot of milk growing up.
Dairy, period. And being a former cheeseaholic and a person who had nothing but fibroids, and I was told I had to have a hysterectomy, and ovarian cysts and PCOS and extremely heavy periods, to go from that and not thinking that was going to ever change, because I was told there's nothing you can do about it apart from surgery. And then when I changed my diet, it just went away. With almost 100 pounds with it, without any effort. And I'm like, so you can't have a normal period and not be bleeding and have to take off work and you know, a pad and a tampon and all that, like the same, all that gone. Fibroids gone naturally. I have friends that have had surgery upon surgery because they keep coming back because they haven't changed their diet. So it's not good for especially people of color. So anyway, any other questions or comments? No, you're here to you ask. No.
I was curious about, you're gonna make a dessert, but I was curious about flour. I don't use white flour, I use almond or oat. But
There you go.
that's not, I know that's not part of what we should be using.
If you're in that place where you need to have like those kind of baked goods, then using a whole flour like that is okay. I mean, for what it is. You want it to get to the point where your fruits can be your dessert. But you know, everyone has an indulgence. Like we talk about in this class, we have staples, which should be at least 80% of your diet, and then indulgences, which should be 20% or less of your diet. So long as your indulgences don't become your staples, that's okay. So almond flour, oat flour is great because they're from whole sources. But just know it's very nutrient dense, very calorically dense. So because almonds, you know, a cup full of almonds is a couple hundred calories. So when you have 2 cups or 4 cups of almond flour, it's very calorie rich, plus whatever else you're putting in there. So just be mindful that even though it's nutritious, it can add to your waistline very easily. Trust, I know from experience. So I'm testing all these recipes. Any other questions, comments? Yeah.
I have one. Can we sample before the Q&A? Because I have to leave early.
Okay, we'll do our yes, we'll do the dessert and then we'll go ahead and pass it out. Okay. Yes. Any other questions or comments? We good? Okay. Hopefully I didn't go on my spiel too hard, but I really truly welcome it. I love the new faces and the new questions. I love it. So don't feel bashful to ask. Okay. So let me get my hands re-washed and we'll get going. Okay. 27. Oh. Okay. You pull my hair back on this side. Okay. All right. Not right now. I might need you to help me scoop this out. Now I'm just about to pour all this in a blender. Okay. So as I stay at the top of the class, the dessert. So for the newcomers as well, all the recipes, because I used to print them out, then y'all would lose them and ask me to reprint them, and I have to pay. And it's all on the website now. Okay. So if you go to thenaijagoddess.com, it's been changed up a little bit. So when you go there, the first thing that comes, it says recipes. So just click recipes, and then the recipes will come up. And it should be where the most recent ones that I put in there should come up first, so you don't have to scroll through everything. But you'll see the recipes that we've done from class in there. You'll also see at the bottom of the recipe a recipe card that you can print easier. It has check-off boxes so you can check along as you go along the recipe and when you grocery shop. And you can convert from Celsius to Fahrenheit and whatnot. So our very quick dessert, which I think I'm doubling or tripling this recipe since we have some extra people. It's just some organic grapes, okay? That's our sugar. That's our sugar for this. Now, grapes are one of these products or foods that GMOs are getting in very easily. You'll see cotton candy, all these things genetically modified. And if you're just wondering or hoping that those cotton candy ones are not genetically modified, look at the PLU number, which we talked about before, the PLU, the price lookup number. If it starts with a 3 or a 5, it is genetically modified.
Okay, wait, say that again now.
Oh, we just talked about that, y'all. Yeah.
We owe it.
Are those seeded grapes?
Unfortunately not. I haven't been to a regular grocery store where they sell seeded grapes. I only have found them at certain farmers markets. And when I went, they were already sold out of the seeded grapes, unfortunately. So because of convenience, they're all seedless now. But
If you had seeded, would you seed them before you put them in?
No. The grape seed is like one of the most nutritious things on the planet. It's good for women and especially for men's health, prostate health. Okay. So the normal recipe would just be 2 cups of grapes. So I think I'm doubling and a half the recipe. I just took all the grapes that I had. All right. I've got 2 organic avocados here. The regular recipe we call for 1. This is what's going to make it a pudding. All right. It's going to be creamy. It won't taste like avocado. Not that it really has a distinct flavor. And if you all recall how we open and cut an avocado, you go down through the top until you feel that pit. You go around it, twist it, take out the seed. And then what's the next thing we do? No. I showed y'all this. You quarter it. We quarter it because you get all of the avocado out. Like I said, I learned that from an avocado farmer. So you see when I do this, it'll just come right off. Instead of scooping it, you have little pockets. And now this is totally compostable. Get the Jackie, our master gardener in the class. Okay. And if your avocado is not ripe, it will be very hard to take the skin off.
Let me ask you something. I had one that was starting to turn somewhat brown. Do I need to get rid of it?
Nope. That's just a little bit of oxidation. It means it's fully ripened and starting to overripe.
Okay, now what's the signs of it being bad? Once you see mold on it or something like that? No, seriously, the reason I bought some and it was starting to turn and I wanted to make sure before I choke.
The ones that are just starting to turn, they're fine.
Okay.
They're fine. And why that happens is because there's another supposed trick that people do. That's why I brought this one. They take the little nub off the top, and if it's green in there, they know that it's green on the inside. And if it starts turning brown in here, if y'all can you all see the top of that? How that little nub is missing? Yeah. But what happens when you take that off and it still sits in the grocery store? That's when it starts to oxidize. It ripens even faster. So all you need to do when you pick up an avocado, it should be a little bit giving to the touch. Shouldn't be, if you can push your thumb in it, it's past its time. Yeah.
Question on the avocado.
Yes.
I have gotten avocados where I've opened it and it's pretty brown and it has little striations in there.
Yeah.
I just throw it away. I feel like I'm wasting my money. Take it back.
I don't know about the striation part. I haven't experienced that.
It's a little grain or something, a little string.
I haven't experienced that.
Another question. Pretty good. Another question.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you freeze an avocado with the skin?
Not in the skin. So the question was, can you freeze an avocado in its skin? No. When the avocado's like this, what I like to do, because I have an allergy to bananas, if you're making a smoothie, you want to make it thicker, and you're not using Naija sea moss to thicken it up, use avocado. So you open it up and you take it out the skin like we just did, and slice it and put it in whatever your freezer bag of choice is, and then freeze them, and then you can use them like that. But when you freeze them in the skin, when they come out, when I have tried to do it, because I wanted to see it, the texture, it was weird. It was, the water with the fat just wasn't working. So I'll go back and ask the avocado farmer if there's a way to do it, because when I just did it like a basic way, it wasn't working for me. So.
Where is your avocado farmer? Is he in Mexico?
No, California.
Oh, California.
Yep. Yep.
Do you mind if I take a picture of you?
No, I don't know. Okay. All right. So we're cooking with something over here. So we've got our healthy fat, we've got our fruit, and we got some more fruit. So we're going to flavor it because the grapes are acting as our sugar for the dessert, if you will. And then we're making it a blueberry flavor. If you all recall when we did this last time, we did raspberries, frozen raspberries. But I have these lovely organic blueberries. So I said, why not, let's do that since I made the mousse too late. Couldn't give that to y'all today. The recipe, I'm almost certain it was a cup.
I just read just recently, I think it was just yesterday, where they said that berries, blueberries, raspberries, strawberries reduces Alzheimer's by a very, very large percentage. And that you should try to eat them at least once a day.
You should eat berries every single day because it's not just good for brain health, it's good for everything. They're like, these blueberries are super high in antioxidants, and it should just be a part of your staple. I eat them daily, so I can't keep enough. That's what I'm trying.
I cannot eat them every day.
You can't?
I'm just trying to figure out how to put it in my diet. I do a smoothie most days, but
Eat them, start to eat. Oh, we've done it a couple different ways. Eat them plain, and if that gets boring to you, we did something where we did berries and cream. We did like a little cashew cream with a little bit of maple syrup in it, and you pour it over that, and it makes it feel more indulgent, even though it's still very healthy. Then you can do something like this, where it's a pudding. So, yeah, my mother-in-law, she freezes her berries and eats them like ice cream. I don't like that. I don't like that, but you know, I mean, because I just don't like cold stuff. You know, I'm a tropical girl. All right. I don't know if y'all can see how it's gotten thick already. It's because of the avocado. All right. Now for you sugar addicts, the ones who are not used to eating real sugar yet, if you feel like you need to put a couple of dates in to make it sweeter and palatable for you, you can start there, but just have the intention of going less and less and less. Now look at that. So you use a towel right there. Fatty. Yep. It's the good fat. It's the polyunsaturated fat. So I think this is something that's very easy to meal prep. It stores in the refrigerator well for about a week. It's a great breakfast or snack or in between thing. So if you have something like a sweet tooth, then this is something really good to do. So you're getting your full fats. Now, why is it good to make sure you have some type of fat with the meal? Say it again louder.
It helps you absorb the nutrients.
Yes. So what we talked about the last many weeks at this point. See how y'all just fade away when food's coming? Can y'all come back to me for like 2 more seconds? She's going to give it to you, I promise. So all vitamins. So for the vitamins, we have water-soluble vitamins and fat-soluble vitamins. So when you have a food that has vitamin A, D, E, or K, you need to have it with fat because those are fat-soluble vitamins. So that's why if you have berries and sprinkle like a little bit of hemp seeds with it, or like a little cashew cream or whatever, then all those other fat-soluble vitamins are you're going to actually absorb those instead of just the water-soluble ones. Okay, so it's always good to have a good source of healthy whole fat, not oils and all that stuff. Healthy whole fats from the fruit or vegetable itself. Okay. I call it berry pudding. Yep. So the avocados, what makes it a pudding texture, the grapes are the sweetener, and then the blueberry is the taste. So like I said, I normally do it with raspberries, but blueberries were upset.
It's so good, and little kids like it. That's how good it is.
You can actually freeze into little freeze pops too.
Yeah, they're
So,
so good.
yeah. So it's very versatile, very quick as you saw. Okay. So no excuses for people who don't like to cook. Okay.
So it's okay to add dates into that, you said?
I say it's okay to add dates into anything that's going to keep you from eating processed sugar and work your way down. Just know that dates are very calorically, and they're nutrient rich, but they're calorically rich. So really, 2 dates is really all one needs. But if you're at the point where you are where you need 4 dates to make it sweet enough for you to eat, start there. I'd rather you do that than pour white sugar in there, because at least you're getting some minerals and some fiber with it, right? But the goal is to try to enjoy the flavor of the fruit itself and let that be sweet enough for you. Okay, we good? Okay. All right, so we're going to go to our next recipe. We're going to go ahead and do the asparagus.
How's the okra coming along?
The okra for you and Mike. The recipe I've been working on.
Okay.
I think in 2 weeks, it's either 2 or 3 classes from now we'll have the okra.
I love you, girl.
Yes. 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 I couldn't figure it out for the Southeast Asian. I couldn't figure it out. So, yeah. So, okay, asparagus. Oh, I have my brain dump notes. I have to make sure. I went on a whole other tangent that I was expecting to go on. Let me make sure I hadn't missed anything yet. No. Okay. We already kind of talked about asparagus. Okay. Anybody know what asparagus is good for? It helps improve your digestion, yes. Yes. And I can't say for kidneys exactly, because it depends on where that person is with it, because sometimes you may not want them to overly urinate, and sometimes you want to help them get extra liquid out. So it's not necessarily for that. It's for reducing inflammation in the body and improving digestion.
Asparagus.
Yes, asparagus. Yes. So something good to add to the. Okay. Well, right now they're not, because they're in season. So the 2 pounds of asparagus I got here today was $5 for 2 pounds. So that's pretty reasonable. Now, in general, they're more of an expensive vegetable because of what it takes to grow them. It takes 7 years for them to even produce and become edible, right? So, yes, 7 years. So once that happens, and then if you get like the white asparagus, they have to do something to keep the sun from getting on it so it doesn't turn color, and that makes those more expensive. So it's certain things to it. That's why, like when we talked about before, the red bell pepper is always the most expensive because it has to sit on the vine the longest to fully ripen. This is a little bit less expensive because it came off when it turned yellow, and the greens are cheap because it's the same kind of thing. So if it's more labor intensive, then it's more expensive. Okay. Yes. All right.
What are you going to do to the okra to make it not so slimy?
The slime is what you want.
You want that?
You want the slime. That's that soluble fiber goodness. But we want to make it so it actually tastes good and it's palatable. And that's what I've been working on. Okay. It's good. Did everybody get enough? We have some more. Okay. Yeah. What? Is it sweet? Oh. I think I'm good for right now. Okay, well, since you are eating now, feedback on the pudding. This your first time? Is that something you would? Okay. Okay. Thoughts? Huh? It's sweet enough? Right. Okay. It is. Normally it's made with frozen fruit. I just didn't have it at the house, so I just used fresh blueberries today. Yep. Mm-hmm. You're improving. 2 to 4 days.
But this today is sweet enough for me. I always use
Well, these blueberries aren't sweet. This batch aren't really that sweet. Okay. No, that's from my previous class, but I'll put it up there since I'll put it up there, so it'll be there probably tomorrow. Yep. Okay. Doesn't taste healthy? It's super healthy. This is how you can get your fruits in. Yeah. I think there's some extras coming around. If you want some more, okay. 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 Day. Yeah. Okay. 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 All right. Okay. 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 All right. All right. So it seems like we had one success recipe. Reminder, even though it's not new. It's new to some people in here. So that was my quick go-to when I want something kind of sweet. I just do something like this. Get a picture of them eating the food. Zoom in on that. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Any other comments before we go to our next recipe? Oh, she's still serving. Any other comments, Mike? Okay. We had raspberry. Yep. Frozen raspberry. Okay. Okay.
This does not need Dutch dates.
I don't think so either. Yeah. I don't think so either. Yeah. Yeah.
Raspberries and grapes.
You can use, so the it's whatever berry you use, it's the flavor the pudding will be. So the grapes are just there for the sweetness factor. And of course the health, because grapes are like one of the healthiest things you can eat and should be eating every day because it's astringent. It helps that it's a natural body, detoxifies your body. So eating grapes on a daily basis is a great way. But sometimes if you some people like my husband need variety. They can't just eat the same thing in that way every day. So if you need that variety or need other ways to eat more fruits and vegetables, these are ways to do it. So in that first class I did, the first month was how to eat more fruits and vegetables and love it, or how to eat more plants and love it. So it was like recipes like this where it's all goodness, but you're getting all these fruits and vegetables and you would never really know it, but it tastes good. So that was the whole premise of that class. They're all, so as you see, my husband and Rashidi are recording this, so these go live on my YouTube page, so you can always go back and watch the classes. Okay.
Can you use a variety of different grapes?
I would say make sure the grapes are not GMO. Use whatever grape that you like. The quote unquote healthiest grapes, because of the amount of antioxidants that are in them and the resveratrol that's in them, is to use black or red grapes. Doesn't mean you can't use green grapes. You absolutely can. You can use whatever grape you can, but I would just say please don't get the cotton candy and the other genetically modified ones, preferably. But if that's all you have, use it. But
You said don't use the green grapes?
No, use whatever grape you have. I'm just saying that the healthiest of the healthy are the black grapes and the red grapes.
Aren't the globe grapes the best? The globe with the seeds, those big round.
Grapes with the seeds are the best. They are the darkest. Yes.
You know,
What about the
Muscadine. You can use those too. Yeah, you can use those too. I can't hear you. Oh, you like green grapes? Okay.
so nauseated that I did look it up. I couldn't figure out, and they did say that they can cause nausea.
I haven't heard that before. Okay.
They really, it just really got me.
If those don't sit well with you, I would avoid them. You know,
They
but
may have been sprayed with something.
that's usually the culprit. But I don't want to put a blanket on everything, because you might have a food aversion to those strain of grapes. I'm not sure, but yeah. This is something to try. Okay, well, it seems like overall this was successful. You see how quick and easy it is. It stores well. So if you're doing a meal prep, you should add this into there because it's very easy. I will say the only caveat to this recipe, when you do put it in the refrigerator, because it has avocado in it, the color will turn. So this beautiful purple color, it'll have a slightly brownish color to it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just because it's out in oxygen. Okay? But so don't think it's like it's gone bad. After 5 days, if you haven't finished it, which I don't know if it can last that long in your house, but after 5 days, it should be discarded. Okay? It's okay. All right. All right, so we're going to officially go ahead and move on to our next recipe to get this in so we can get to the main dish. All right, so I have some asparagus here, and I have to tell you guys, my local Food Lion has stepped up to the plate. I've been talking to that produce manager for a while, and that produce section is and it's not a good Food Lion because, you know, you have some nice ones and some not so nice ones. This is a not so nice one in a not so nice neighborhood, but it's got organic everything. I don't have to drive way over here and there. I was like, okay. And I saw him this morning. I said, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so we got these beautiful green asparagus from Food Lion today. They need to sponsor me, okay? And so I've already done the prep work on these, but I wanted to show you all on these in case you weren't aware. So when you're buying asparagus, or when you're going to prepare asparagus, you want to make sure that the woody ends are discarded for compost, not the trash, okay? So what you'll do is wherever it will, I'll start with one so you can see. Wherever it naturally breaks, that means this is the part that's very extremely fibrous. This is the part that's tender and the most edible. Compost or use for vegetable stock and eat, okay? So once you get used to doing that, you can take handfuls at a time, and then they'll all break where they're supposed to break. Naturally. If it's not going to break there, it'll just bend. Otherwise, it'll just snap. Okay? So, Jackie, this is for you.
Okay, I put the bag over there.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Crap, thank you. I didn't want to get my hands dirty. Okay. So I have this baking sheet here, and we're going to put this on in one flat layer. Now, this is one of the recipes where I will use oil because, you know, the asparagus is already very, even though it's nutrient rich, it doesn't have many calories in it. I'm trying to get this into a single layer because I don't want to steam them. I want to roast them. Okay. So what we're going to do, we're going to put on 1 tablespoon of olive oil for these 2 pounds of asparagus.
Now, this is one of the rare occasions that you're using olive oil.
Yes. Extremely rare. Because if I were to use like a whole fat, like I prefer, like a tahini, I wasn't going for a tahini flavor asparagus. So in this case, because everything else is super healthy and I'm using a very little bit amount of oil, I'm comfortable with it. So I'm just giving this a quick toss so that everything is coated. And then I'm just going to lightly season with some salt and pepper. I left my pepper mill at home, so we're going to use East Way's finest. Okay?
What is your preferred oil?
None. Who said really? Okay. Oil. Oil is highly refined, highly processed with almost no nutrition and full of calories. So 1 tablespoon of oil is 120 calories. So when we go to saute the vegetables for the Ackee, people will start putting oil in there. Not seeing that that's almost a 1/4 cup of oil, right? So now you're already starting off with 400 or 500 calories that don't help you feel any fuller, that don't have any fiber or any minerals. And then people say, well, I'm eating healthy, but I can't lose weight. You eliminate the oil. Eat the whole source. So instead of olive oils, eat olives. Instead of avocado oil, eat avocado. Instead of, eat the coconut. Eat the source, because then it comes molecularly intact with all the fibers, nutrients, minerals that you need, and your body knows what to do with it. Not some industrialized thing. Now, if I were to pick an oil, my favorite oil is palm oil, indigenous to West Africa and now South America, because it's one of the highest sources of vitamin A on the planet and vitamin E on the planet, and it's natural. When you open a palm, if you come from where I come from, Nigeria, okay, she's a VIP for today. It grows naturally, and when you cut it, the oil just comes. It just you don't do anything. There's no industrialization that has to happen. Versus how many olives have to be squeezed to get a little bit of olive oil? How many when you buy this crappy oil like these seed oils? How much you have to use an expeller machine to extract? Anyway. That's another conversation that we've already had.
How can you be sure it's not coming from the rainforest?
It should say it on the label or buy an African brand because they're all made in villages locally, and it goes to any of your West African markets around here, and it's the kind because palm oil got a bad rap because they were using palm kernel seed oil, and that's the result of colonization. And it's not good for you. It's totally processed and industrialized. Just like canola oil is a byproduct of the petroleum industry that they just put a packaging on, right? You should not be eating that at all. It shouldn't even be for human consumption as far as my personal opinion. That one's not fact-based, it's my personal opinion on that. But if you're going to use an oil that's naturally occurring. Coconut oil, it's naturally occurring. When you chop it floats to the top. If you put it comes to the top, it's natural. But all these other made-up oils that they're doing, You can get palm oil from a West African market or Caribbean market. Even some of the Asian markets carry it. And the higher end, like a Whole Foods would have it. The organic marketplace in Gastonia would have it. And it'll say fair trade. It'll say rainforest free, all that kind of stuff on it for the higher end palm oils. If you go to the West African market where they're coming straight from West Africa, it's not going to say that because that's just how it's made. It's just how it's made.
And it's
Okay.
always red.
It's red or orange. Yeah, it's reddish orange. And it's because it's a natural saturated fat, like coconut oil. So again, fats are good. We need fats. We just have to make sure it's all in the right balance. It's all about balance. Okay, so when we talk about seasoning, I haven't done this yet because people always say, I don't know how to season my food. And I say, well, it's about flavor profiles, right? One thing I was thinking about the other day, because I'm making a video on this, season from above. So when you see professional chefs doing it, it's not just because it looks great on camera, okay? It's because when you do like this, the salt is dispersing evenly. Versus if it's concentrated. And I'm trying to do like this here, then it's in one spot. You come from above, and it hits everything. So then you don't over season. You just do like this. And that's why you see them on TV doing that. So I was like, maybe I should just call that out. Okay. Yeah, okay. So this is something I would never use, but since I didn't bring mine, thank you, Eastway, for having something to use. It's okay. It's okay. Try to get the one that says microplastic tested and microplastic free. Yes, because most of the salts now have microplastics in them. So this I don't like when it's pre-ground because all you get is heat and no flavor. You don't taste the fruit of the actual peppercorn. And who God knows how long this has been in this can. And it's an aluminum can on top of that. All right, so now that we've already done this, now if you season properly, you don't have to go back and do this. When you go back and do this because you were seasoning olive on it, like back up, okay? Give it some space. All right, so now I'm going to put this back in a row, and we're going to just bake these or roast these for, I'm going to say with this stove, because this one doesn't work worth anything, I'm going to say 10 minutes, but it will be 8 to 10 minutes, and that will just be depending on the thickness of your asparagus, because some asparagus are fat, some are like this, skinny, some are in between. So just gauge it. And how you know it's done, it will be bright green. It will be very bright green. Okay? So can someone set their alarm for 10 minutes, por favor? Okay, are we set? Okay. Meanwhile, we're going to get this little quick marinade together. Let me just discard. Oh, you said you wanted these, didn't you?
It's on the counter back.
Okay. Yes. Thank you. Yes. Okay. All right. We're going to make this quick little marinade that's going to go over it, which I think brings this up a level. So like last week, we made that very simple, but I think delicious salad, the arugula salad with the oranges and beets with that lovely vinaigrette with the champagne vinegar. right? Very simple, but the flavors just work together. So I think I try to do something kind of like that. So what do I have? I've got these lemons I've already sliced, and they'll go on top. It'll just be for prettiness. We're going to top it with pistachios because I saw that pistachios and asparagus work really well together. They're like friends, and I just was kind of on the late bus with that. And where's the rest of my stuff? Oh, that's it. Thank you. All right. So that you wouldn't have to watch it, I already juiced 2 lemons. And I doubled it because it's for everybody here. So I juiced 2 lemons, and I already chopped up the tarragon. So it's tarragon. Has anyone ever had tarragon before? Yes. Okay. So it's tarragon and lemon juice in here, and I already minced up the garlic. So that's what's in this cup. And then I'm going to pour. So I put the 1 tablespoon on that, and I put the other remaining 2 tablespoons of olive oil in here. And then we have our little dressing or marinade, whatever you want to call it. So when the asparagus comes out the oven, I'm going to lie it in this platter here, or I didn't have a platter big enough for all the asparagus, so I just put it, we're going to use this. Okay, that came out way slower than I thought. And then we're going to pour this over it and serve. Okay, it's that simple. Y'all seen me, slice and juice lemons. I didn't think you needed to watch me do that. Okay, so that's it. It's just nothing but deliciousness here. The subtleness of the tarragon and the lemon juice complement the pistachios and the asparagus really well. So that's what we'll do. And then we'll lay these nice little, cute little lemon slices on top, and hopefully my husband captured a picture of it. And then that's it. So now while we're waiting on the asparagus, we're going to go to our main dish. Okay, let me do my brain dump stuff first. Get that out the way. And then we'll be eating. We're going to eat these 2 together so y'all can hold tight. Okay, so Ackee and saltfish. That's the dish for today. We're going to Jamaica. Jamaica man. Okay, so it is the national dish of Jamaica. Anyone know what Ackee is? Yes. It's a fruit. It's a fruit. And it's one of those fruits that it has to be completely ripe for it to be safe to eat. If you eat it before it opens up on its own, it's actually extremely poisonous. Hey, Rashadat, come on. You good? Okay. It's actually poisonous. So in this country, unfortunately, finding fresh Ackee is almost impossible. Unfortunately, it's canned, okay? The only place that I've ever seen it fresh was in Jamaica. But Ackee is actually indigenous to West Africa. It got to the Caribbean via the transatlantic slave trade, as a lot of the stuff did, right? That's not a surprise. Ackee. Ackee. Yes, Deb? Okay.
They will have it fresh.
Please text me if you see that, because I only saw when I lived upstate, fresh.
They come out, the agents, they come out there around through the summer, and I know a lot of people after that's when they will go and they will purchase it, because they make it fresh.
And I'll be one of them. Okay. But in the interim, Ackee comes in a can. So I got this from my local West African mart. There's a Ghanaian mart actually in Gastonia, right, where I live in the country. But you can go to all the multitude of African markets here. You can go in even the Asian markets. They'll have like a Caribbean owl and a West African owl. And then they have an East African owl. So you can just go there, like Super G will have it as well too, if you want to do like a one-stop shop. But it comes in a can like this. And just a real quick side note, because I just realized some people just don't know this. When you open up your can, where's my can opener? Everyone's familiar with the regular can opener. Now, if you've got the fancy magnetic automatic one, then disregard. If you have a regular can opener, people always do like this. You don't do like this. And when you do like this and it opens up, it's jagged and sharp. The can opener was designed. So first of all, the can opener didn't come until 50 years after the canned goods were made. People used stones and rocks to open up the cans. There was no can opener. A 50-year gap, okay? I learned that in grad school. So you actually do like this to twist it around. And then when you do that, it comes off. There's no sharp edges. And I became aware of this because I remember in elementary school, they had like people come in and talk to the kids. And I remember the garbage man came in and said, be very careful with these lids because they get cut when it comes through the trash bag. And it just bothered me so much. I remember going to my mom like, we're hurting the trash can, Mom. We can't do this. Like, and I would always make sure I stuffed the lid in there so he wouldn't get cut because I was like, that's terrible. That's a job I thought it was terrible. And at the time, my family, we used it like this because there's jagged. But no, you do like this. And it's, okay, so. Yeah. I wanted it to already be, I thought of it after I opened. I said, maybe they don't know this. You do like this, it clamps on like normal, and you turn it this way versus this way. That's it. So you just do like that, and it spins around. So that's all you got to do. Okay? Okay, well, I'm glad that was a helpful tip. That one's free. That's on the house, okay? Okay. Look, this thing, ooh, the stove does what it wants to do. I did not do that. Okay, so here's what we're going to do, because I know that we have some new folks here. So some stuff, I normally have the stuff chopped up for you guys, but I wanted to make sure that for new people, and just as a reminder, so y'all don't get a C on your next exam, okay? So that y'all recall, all right? So we have a bell pepper here. I've shown you all how to chop a bell pepper. The easy, quick way. It's not the way, it's a way, okay? And from doing this for a long time, I just prefer this way. And then when you go to like culinary school and you have to do very specific measurements of your dices and everything, I wish we could have done it this way, but this is not the way you do it in culinary school. Huh? Oh, apologies. Can y'all see me better now? Okay. So we have an organic bell pepper. Okay, already that's been washed. All right, the first thing you do is slice the bottom with a sharp knife. The worst and the most dangerous tool in the kitchen is a dull knife. Seriously, that's been proven time and time again. Now that you have the bottom broken off, now you can see everything. You see where the seeds are. You see where the little white pith part is. Now you just chop around it, so you go straight down. Now you've got flat sides. Instead of when you chop it from the top, you got that part that curls under and you can't ever get the cut right. Now you don't have that problem. And you just go around, because now you see exactly where it is. Another flat slice. So now you can do all the fancy things. And you're cutting right around the seed and the pith. All that stays there intact. And then you get to compost this. Jackie. So now that you've got your nice even slices that took no effort and you knew exactly what you were doing, and you didn't have to go to culinary school to do all this, now you just take it. Now you always want to use the claw, because when you're going, that's how you can do like this, okay? Well, actually more like this, and not cut your finger off. So you always want to make sure your pad of your finger, your knife and your knuckle are the guide, okay? So now you can take it like this, and you can just draw lines as wide or as skinny as you want, and you just turn around. Then you can just make chops. I want them kind of sizable. I don't want them to be too small. Okay, so it makes chopping and prepping a cinch if you're not using like a food processor or the little Chop-O-Matic thing or whatever it's called. All right. So. In this recipe, from when I've had it before, they use all different color bell peppers. So I just picked a orange and a red today. You can use any color. Thank you. I personally just very much dislike green bell peppers. They just taste unseasoned, unripened. But now look how bright green these are. They came alive, right? Okay. So now I'm going to put them in our, just rinse this real quick. Oh, it's fine. Okay. I'm going to put this in our platter. Okay. I had some garlic cloves that were still kind of in that pan. Okay. Now, technically, you should eat these kind of like immediately. So we can do that, or y'all can wait and eat it with the ackee and saltfish if you want. All right, so I'm going to spread this out. And then I'm going to add our little marinade. Because the way they are right now, they actually already taste great, in my humble opinion. Okay, so they're kind of bathed in that. And then I'm going to put these little lemon slices on it for decor and some extra little flavor. And that's it. Your vegetables that are green should be green when you eat them. They should be almost turning brown. Okay. Or I don't even want to think about a gray vegetable. All right. As you all can see, they're bright green, saying, "Eat me. I want to help your body." Okay. Picture time to mine. Okay. And for the new people, the man that's been coming up here is my husband. Okay. You take some picture. Okay. So if y'all want to eat these now, we can, or y'all can wait for the saltfish. Y'all want those now? I'm hearing 50-50. Okay, the mom would do that. Okay, so now we're going to finish just chopping this up. So I just wanted to make sure I showed you all as a reminder how to do this. So it's not intimidating. I think this is a very easy home cooked way to chop it. And then you don't have to go super fast if you don't want to. I mean, who you trying to impress? But it's very easy to do and knock it all out. So the more you do it, the faster you can do it. For me to do that right now, this is a very low counter, and I don't feel like I don't have the proper counterbalance to do what I normally do at home, just whizzing through the veggies. So that's it. So in this bowl, like I said, I already chopped up 1 orange bell pepper. I chopped up 1, instead of 2 Roman tomatoes that's listed in the recipe, I chopped up 1 fatter one, and some thyme and some scallion. Okay. And we're going to just water saute these. Why do we water saute? Right. So if you're going to use oil, use it as a finisher, use it with intention, because the vegetables already have plenty of water in them anyway. So if it starts to get a little bit sticky in there, just add a little bit more water or whatever liquid. You could use soy sauce, vegetable broth, whatever liquid you're seasoning your dish with. It is good. The tarragon and lemon. Oh, Damon, the pistachios. Thank you so much. You gotta have it with the pistachios, y'all. Okay, with the pistachio. Okay. Okay, last thing I'm going to chop. Now, I know how this class tends to be very spice averse, but we're in the Caribbean, okay?
That's right, make it hot.
Okay, so I brought one harmless little pepper. It's not even a Scotch bonnet, it's just a habanero, which is less hot, okay? So what I'm proposing, we use the whole thing and I just won't put the seeds in. So it has some kind of kick. Are we comfortable? Okay, now if you're not a seasoned pro, use gloves, okay? All right, otherwise everything you touch, yes, and if you're sensitive to that, so you see here, you see where all the seeds are? Okay. So I'm just going to slice those off so y'all can see me do it. I said, let me just do it in front of y'all so y'all wouldn't accuse me of or something, saying it's too hot. Basically, there's no heat left in this to me anymore. But that's okay.
I would never thought about that pairing of pistachios and asparagus.
It comes together well, right, with the tarragon.
Good, it's very good, and it's easy on digestion. Did y'all chew 15 times?
Demerits for everybody, demerits. Yeah, try the 15. I'm glad you reminded them. Okay. Okay, so while y'all are eating that, you all see our beautiful bowl here of veggies? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and saute these. Okay. Like, it's sorry, got me. It went down the wrong pipe. Just like last week, the balance of those flavors makes the beet and the citrus and makes that work. This makes that work. It's a balance. So I was trying to do more whole food things. So everyone like the asparagus? Okay. You taste the tarragon? Okay. Now, isn't this just beautiful? This looks like the Jamaican flag almost, right? All right, so I have thyme in here loose, but I also have thyme bundled in here as well, so I can find it at the end. So I've got garlic, green onion, tomato, and bell pepper. That's it. And no oil, because it has plenty of water in it itself. I didn't have to add anything. Okay? Are y'all still with me? Okay. All right. You're masticating 15 times. Okay, so for our saltfish, the saltfish in the traditional dish is made with cod, okay? So I guess if you want to call it a cod replacement, our version of it is with hearts of palm. So when I did the crab cake before, I used the hearts of palm. So I just took hearts of palm that y'all have already seen, and I just sliced it on a diagonal like they do in Jamaica. They slice it on a diagonal and it's kind of like flaked in there. And then I marinate it, and you can marinate it for 30 minutes like you do any regular kind of fish. Fish only really needs a minimum of 30 minutes to marinate or up to overnight. I put this in this morning. I did this with some nori sheets. So I took 2 nori sheets, I ripped it up. It gives it this fish flavor. And I filled this jar with water and put 1, because I doubled it, I actually put 2 tablespoons of salt in it, because it's saltfish. And if you've ever had ackee and saltfish, it is salty. Okay, so because I had to make it for all you guys, I doubled it. Okay, this will get drained out, and then we'll add it to here, and then we'll have our fish component. The last thing we're going to do is add the ackee, because the ackee is very delicate. So it's basically, it's their breakfast. So this is the egg. It actually is a great egg substitute. It looks like egg. It has the fat like egg. It's very high in fat. It's like almost like an avocado. It's very high in fat and protein for a fruit. It's very, very high in that. It's very, if you're on the keto plan, it's very keto friendly, okay? This particular fruit, because it doesn't have hardly any carbs. It's all fat and protein. It is beautiful, right? Like I said, it looks kind of like their flag, their colors. So we're going to add the ackee in last and do a very gentle zhuzh, and that's it. It'll be ready to eat. So the only other thing I'm missing is some onion. And so they normally serve ackee with, ackee and saltfish is normally served with steamed callaloo, which are greens. And they're spicy. And then they also have a side of sweet plantain that's typically fried, and also sometimes served with breadfruit. And breadfruit is a fruit. It doesn't taste like bread. It's like a custardy, I don't know how to really explain it if you never had it before. But that's what it's normally served with. It's a very savory, healthy breakfast that's balanced with carbs, fats, and protein from the macronutrient perspective. Okay, so we've got our veggies in here just rocking and rolling. All this beautiful color. We are not about to cook this to death. So while this is kind of, making friends in the pot, we are going to come over here and we're going to drain this saltfish. That's why I spelled with the Y on there, so no one gets the wrong idea. All right. If I was at home, I would try to fish out those nori papers, but if you all can see, for those who need things to look like meat, it looks like meat. It flakes up like meat. So when you take out one of the rolls of the hearts of palm, you can take a fork, it shreds just like a chicken, like a shredded chicken. And it's a common fish replacement in the vegan world. Yep. So.
Would the curls work?
With the what?
The curls, the soy curls.
Not in this case. Not to say you couldn't add it, but it wouldn't be ackee and saltfish.
Okay.
Yeah. And since I'm trying to replicate in this particular instance. All right, so we've got that. I'm going to do this other jar.
So you just leave the nori in there then?
Yes, that's our fish flavor that will stay constant. Just like when we had the chickpea tuna, how I left those, that was part of the dish. Like I said, let me not be cheap, but I really want to get all that out there.
Put a little water in it, and it'll come out in the strainer.
That is true. Thank you, Kimberly. Yes, now I can breathe. I was getting a little uptight. I didn't want to waste. Yeah, I don't like to waste. Okay. Okay. So like I said, this is like a quadruple batch because it's for y'all, but the proper proportions are on the website. I think it serves 6. And somebody had asked me how do I do the recipe sizing, why some of them are 4, some of them are, I don't like to use a half a can or something and then you don't have a purpose for it. So whatever a full can of ackee would serve, then that's what I base the recipe on, so that you're not sitting there with a quarter can left of ackee. What are you going to do with it? So that's why they're not everyone for serving for 4 people or whatever. It's because of that. Okay, so we're just going to mix that up so that they can make friends. And then after a few moments, because this is already, everything's already cooked, right? The hearts of palm, it can be eaten raw. Uh-oh. Okay, someone tried to escape. Okay. Yeah, I tried to escape. And, yeah, that's very fishy to me. Very fish-like to me. Okay, so I'm going to turn this up a little bit because the stove just does what it wants to do. We had one rogue piece of time. We got out the little bundle. All right, and then the last thing we're going to do is the ackee. This is delicate, especially when it's in a can. get a little. So 3 to 4 of these will come on the Ackee plant. And inside of this, where you see this opening, it will be a black seed. And in the olden days, those black seeds were used as a good luck charm. Okay? But this is sensitive. It crumbles just like an egg would. It's very light like an egg. That's why it's their breakfast. It's very high in fat and protein. Almost no carbs. All right, so we have 2 cans of that. Uh-oh. One try to get away too. I'm going to have to let that one go. No, it's indigenous to West Africa, but I get, like as most things are, other places take it over and run with it. So it's most prevalent now in the Caribbean, but it's still wild. It runs wild in West Africa. It's just not a national dish like it is in Jamaica, where you're going to see it all the time. Okay. So as y'all can see over here, I think we're looking pretty good. Well, hopefully y'all think it will taste delicious. So all I'm going to do is just add this Ackee in very gently, just so it can just be warmed through, and then we can serve. So y'all have your all's egg breakfast. We'll talk about eggs next week. Again. So I'm going to add a quarter or a half teaspoon of this fish seasoning. Of course, most seasoning, when they say chicken, beef, whatever, there's no animal in it most of the time, so still read your labels. And I got this from the same African market, and it's a Caribbean one, the one that's popular there. So just going to hit it, the Ackee, because Ackee has no flavor. So just hit with a little bit of that, just a little kiss, and that's it. And we can serve. And that will conclude our trip to Jamaica for today. Okay, I think we're good. Hopefully I won't find this too spicy since there were no seeds. Okay, so you had your veggies first. So now you've got your digestive enzymes working, all right? Prepare for this. Yeah, let me get a spoon. Will you just taste it real quick? Huh? Just make sure. Get a little piece. All right. Okay. I'm happy with it. All right. The saltiness is coming through clearly. The fishiness is coming through. The gentle texture. You get the crunch from the bell peppers. So hopefully y'all enjoy. Now, while y'all are talking or about to eat, I can finish my brain dump. Huh? No. Callaloo served on the side. Yes, as its own side dish. Yep. Yes. We did. Yeah. There's no actual fish in it. It's hearts of palm in lieu of the cod. Okay. Yep. So the hearts of palm, who recalls, where does it come from? It comes from the palm. Yes. Yeah, so there are all different types of palm trees. Yep, and it comes from typically from the one that's called the cabbage palm. So it's in the trunk of the tree. When you chop it, it's in the center of it. And this is there. It's there for you to eat. It's high in selenium, which is a nutrient most people are deficient in, don't get a lot of. It's really high in nutrients. So it's really good. Let's see. Okay, the question is, where do you find hearts of palm in the grocery store? So most of the time, you're not going to find hearts of palm fresh. You're going to find it canned. So they have the organic canned hearts of palm. It's on the canned vegetable aisle. And they have there's 2 brands that are typically at the grocery store that's organic, and then they have the non-organic ones. So, choose what you prefer. They also, because they're so popular, but how they take on texture, there's a brand called Palmini, and they take hearts of palm and they make noodles out of them. So they have linguine, fettuccine, and those are canned and bagged. And so that way you can have a no carb or the very low carb but high mineral rich pasta made from hearts of palm. Okay. Yep. Excuse me?
Doesn't it come in glass jars also?
Yeah, but that particular one is not organic. But I mean, you can still use it. You can still use it for sure. Okay.
Got me eating $6 bread. I'm not eating no canned, no non-organic bread. Sprouted and seeded, $6 bread.
Your body says thank you. Okay, question. Who has had actual Ackee and Saltfysh before? Okay. It doesn't taste like, what do you feel?
I think this tastes a lot better than what.
Oh, okay, I'll take that.
If I can remember correctly, that wasn't that great to me.
Okay.
I had it.
Okay. Okay. This is their dish, so if I did a recipe, it would be a little bit different, but I wanted to stay true to form. This is what's in a traditional, 1,000%. Add about 2 more habaneros or Scotch bonds, then we're cooking with something. So what do y'all think about the flavor? Or you taste the saltiness? Okay. It's too salty? It's like the traditional way, it's salty. They salt the fish, so it's supposed to be salty. Yep. 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 And that's really the way I cut it. I had already cut it, and I was like, well, oh well, they know it's not fish. But shred it. I would cut them in a diagonal and shred it, and then it'll be like flaky fish. But I was like doing like diagonal chunks, and I was like, they know it's not fish, so I just went tripping. Yeah, we are. Go ahead.
You know, the Africans, West Indians, everybody use rice. They ball of rice.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I can't. Okay, let me let's see. Did I cover everything? Okay, so Ackee in particular, the health benefits of Ackee: it lowers blood pressure, boosts energy levels, supports healing and growth, aids in digestion, protects against diabetes by lowering cholesterol, and improving the immune system and increasing circulation. So it's an ideal digestive aid due to its rich fiber content, and it helps to lower cholesterol and boost heart health. It's very high in potassium, which acts as a vasodilator, which is something that reduces the strain on the heart and lowers the risk of atherosclerosis, which prevents the buildup of plaque in the arteries. And because it's used a lot there to prevent diabetes, so they eat a lot of that to help with type 2 diabetes. And it's unusually high in protein for a fruit. Most fruits don't have much protein in them, but this one does. I think it's 3 grams for one fruit, which is a lot in one fruit. And it has all the essential minerals and some of the trace minerals in there, like I told you, like selenium, the ones that are hard to find in most of our foods today because the soils are so depleted. So it's really a health food. And then you get those positive polyunsaturated fatty acids, which is always really good for you, just like the same kind of fat that's in avocado. So it's really, really good. Really, really good for you, rather. So that is that.
Now, she cooked that for me this morning with just eggs and spinach. Put that on top of there.
But his had the real pepper in it though. Okay. Yeah, that made him a meal for. I don't want to be hangry when he gets here, so gotta make sure him and Bobby. So Bobby can't handle any kind of heat, so I didn't. So, no, he has zero heat tolerance. So. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Yep. So I made him some almond butter toast with a little drizzle of date syrup, some fresh blueberries, and the omelet with some Swiss chard. Omelet without egg. Yeah. I grow it on my tower. Yep. That's it. Okay. Questions or comments before we wrap? Yeah.
What country we going to next week?
We are, I think it's Trinidad and Tobago. We're doing jerk tacos next week with, I'm thinking a mango chutney. I haven't fully decided yet. Okay, it's jerk tacos for sure. It's the main dish next week. A little bit from Mauritius and a little bit from Trinidad and Tobago, that combination. Yeah.
Can you use Ackee like you would use like a scrambled eggs, like
Yes.
or an omelet? Can you make it like an omelet type?
Because they come in those petals, I don't know if it gets mushy very quickly. So I wouldn't say it gets like an omelet consistency, but for a scramble, absolutely. And just know, I mean, it has a neutral flavor, but there is still a slight flavor to it. So whatever you add to the Ackee, it would be like when I made the spinach and feta eggs this morning. I mean, it covers the flavor of the beans. So this, you add something like that. If you did spinach and feta Ackee, you could do like that. It will absorb well.
And eat it right out the can.
Yeah, you gotta just warm it.
Because it'll take away the nutrients.
I mean, you can warm it very gently. You saw I just let it kind of warm up and that's it. So, yeah. That's it. This is quick. You can buy the vegetables pre-chopped, throw it in a pan, and then put the Ackee in, and yeah, so you're good. Any other questions or comments? Y'all good? Okay, so now we had our form. Now I can be free and do my creative recipes, but I wanted to start off like we did with West Africa, like we did with Southeast Asia. I want to start with something authentic, as authentic as can be, and so we did that. Oh, okay, I appreciate that. All right, so for the new people, thank you all so much. I love to talk to you at the class just to get to know your names and everything. And I have sea moss for the folks who had ordered last week and some magnesium oil. Yep.
I need to make sure I get some.
Okay, yep. And anybody else who wants some, I have some. And if you don't want it today, it's on my website. You good? You want some? Okay. Yeah, I do. Okay, I got you. Okay. Oh, yeah, Rashidi, was it too hot? Was it too hot? Uh-huh. Okay. All right. Okay, well, class is adjourned. Hopefully I see you all next week. Thank you all so much, okay? Bye.